Good morning, class. So, originally, this was going to be a video talking about Nightrose and all the cards from her Stride Deckset reveals that we got on Thursday. But I had a little bit of a brainwave, which I know is scary for me. But I decided, why not wait for today and get the Harri reveals, and then we can compare them side by side and see how they differed between Harri and Nightrose. Because there's actually quite a few little bits of similarities, which is really nice. So, let's get started, and we're going to skip the grade 0 and the grade 1, because we know their effects already. The starters, I'm going to flash on screen, had the usual, when this card is rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. And the grade 1s, which I'm also going to flash on screen, are the usual, when they're placed on the Vanguard circle on top of the starter, you can create said crest and then draw a card. So no need to properly dive into those because they literally mirror each other. But let's start out with the grade 2s. And we're going to start off with Nightrose's one first. And for Nightrose, that is the Pirate Sword Colombard. And Pirate Sword Colombard has got the skills of, first one being Hollow. And for those that don't know what Hollow is when it's placed on a rearguard circle, you can make the unit become hollowed, which is the state. And at the end of the turn, retire that unit if you did that. Then the second skill is when he's rode upon by a grade 3 with Nightrose in its card name, you can Soul Blast 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 normal units without Sentinel from among them, and reveal them. You then choose one of the revealed cards, put it into your hand, and then discard the rest of the revealed cards, and then shuffle your deck. And the third skill is Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, if this unit is hollowed, this unit gets power plus 5k until the end of the battle. So before we dive into comparing, we do need to cover the Card Dealer Jacqueline first. So Card Dealer Jacqueline doesn't have a hollow, because obviously hollow's the ground blue mechanic. But this second skill may seem very familiar. When this unit is rode upon by a grade 3 with Harri in its Nightrose, Harri in its Nightrose, Harri in its card name, you can cost Soul Blast 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 normal units without Sentinel, reveal them, choose one of the revealed cards, put it into your hand, and put the rest of the cards into your soul, and shuffle your deck. And the second skill is when this unit is placed on rearguard circle from your soul, this unit gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. So both of these are near enough exact carbon copies of each other. The only difference is literally what causes them to gain their 5Ks and where the extra card goes from the revealing the top 2 cards. But both are really solid cards that both set up the grade 3s. Because obviously Colombard's putting the card into drop. Is also Soul Blasting itself, so no matter what, you're guaranteed to have a good card in drop to resurrect with Nightrose's on stride skill. Whereas Harri's, you're getting the extra card into Soul to combo off with your Magia, and it's honestly really fun. I'm not going to compare Harri and Nightrose directly, because it really is not similar at all. They've both been out for goodness how long. One is calling from the soul when strode upon. One is calling from drop when strode upon. Not really much to compare there. But we do have both of them getting their support grade 1s. These are the brand new units that we never saw actually come out previously. So, a little bit of what do they do situations, because obviously there was nothing lined up for them. So the one for Nightrose is Cam the Ghosty. So Cam the Ghosty's got obviously the hollow ability again. And when this unit is placed on rearguard circle from hand, if you've got the Vampire Princess of Nightfog Nightrose crest, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, discard it, and shuffle your deck. And the third skill, is continuous rearguard circle. During your turn, if this unit is hollowed, this unit gets power plus 5,000. Whereas Harri, however, got the Lunging Assistant, who's got the nice simple skill of, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle from hand, if you have a Master Magician Harri crest, you can soul charge 2. So one's got a really interesting effect, and one's called Lunging Assistant. Cam the Ghosty does so much for Grand Blue Nightrose as a whole. Being able to look at top 5, specifically mill what you want to drop zone, and also be a 13k beat stick in the early game by hollowing it. Really good. Then you've got Lunging Assistant, which is on place from hand, soul charge 2. So you could soul charge your triggers that are being wasted. You could be... You're calling an 8k that gains no power. And then after that, it's a vanilla on the board. So this doesn't work well. Whereas Cam the Ghosty, even when it's retired and you're bringing it back from the drop zone with Nightrose skill, for example, it's still going to be, if you hollowed it, a 13k beat stick. So one side got treated really nicely, and one side didn't. But as for the other reveals, things got different. So for Nightrose, we got the Mighty Rogue Nightstorm, who's the basic grade 3, has the hollow ability. GB2, during your turn, if it's hollowed, it gets plus 10k. And when it's discarded for the cost, Stride. Now, because we saw that from Nightrose, we all thought, oh, Harry's going to be revealing the Flying Chimera, which is the exact same thing. Flying Manticore, sorry. But instead for Harri, they gave us Cutie Paratrooper. So, can't directly compare. But we'll quickly cover Nightstorm and then go into Cutie Paratrooper afterwards. So, having looked at the Nightstorm effects, it's a slightly worse in Largolf, because obviously in Largolf has the ability of when it's placed to call other stuff or add stuff back to the hand. Whereas obviously this just gains power. But the key difference is going to be if the Nightrose strides do focus more on having to call hollow units, that's where Nightstorm's going to see his actual plays. So I wouldn't write him out yet, but we do have to wait and see where the rest of the support goes for him. As for Cutie Paratrooper, really nice to see her come back. Same artist as both the V version and the OG version. So really glad to see them come back again for a third time. And she's got the skill of Magia Auto. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle, other than during your battle phase. And also during the battle phase to both players' turns. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Harri in its card name. Cost. Put a rearguard with a different card name from this unit into your soul. Choose a card with a different card name from the card you put in for this cost from your soul and call it to rearguard circle. At the end of the turn, put the card put that called unit into the soul. Mouthful. So basically what this is this is a purple trapezist that's a lot more restrictive, is the best way to put it. So for those that don't know what purple trapezist did, back in the OG format is when placed, put something into soul, call something out that's not purple trapezist. Didn't care when it was placed or where it was placed from, any of that jazz. The reason Cutie Paratrooper has to have so many restrictions on it. First off, it's due to combos during the battle phase. If you call this out, say from Upstream Dragon, you could then loop Upstream Dragons and get loads of these out on the board. Makes sense that they had to restrict it. They could have just done a simple choice restrict between this and Upstream Dragon, but it makes sense. The reason it has all these loopholes for the you've got to call a different card out from the one you put in, is otherwise you would then have loops with Jumping Jill V-Series version. Because that said, put one of your other cards into your soul to call a non-grade 2 out of soul. So if we didn't have that wording, you'd literally be able to loop Jumping Jill V and this continuously, making infinite power with something like Hungry Clown that says, when something's placed from your soul, both your Vanguard and this gain 2k. So that restriction had to be put in to stop that loop. But because of all that, we have ended up with a badly nerfed Cutie Paratrooper. However, this card is still good. And the reason this is still good is because we can commit an early game board on our turn 2, stride up turn 3, use Harry's on stride skill, Counterblast 1, Soul Charge 1, call this Cutie Paratrooper out from Soul, and then put one of our dead cards like the Dual Nation Dragon Empire Dark States that you'd use on the previous turn into Soul and call something else out that we can combo off with. You could even do the basics of tucking that into Soul, calling out the card dealer Jacqueline, which is going to then become a 5k because you called her from Soul. And it's a Muggier, so end of the turn, that grade 2 will then tuck back into Soul. And the tucking back into Soul comes very important once we get to the last reveals. So our last reveals, which, if you notice, we've been dodging a very important card for both of them, is both the crests. We've not discussed both Harry's and Nightrose crests. So we're going to start off with Nightrose again. And I'm only going to cover her brand new effect, because everything else is the same as every other crest, outside of changing the name cards to Nightrose. So the additional effect for the Nightrose crest is when 3 or more of your cards are discarded from your deck at the same time by your Vanguard's ability, choose one of those discarded cards and you may put it on the bottom of your deck. So basically what this means is when you use Nightrose's GB2 at the end of turn, you can mill 3, resurrect something back, and you then get to put, say for example, any triggers, any perfect cards that you've milled back onto the bottom of your deck, so you're not decking out as much, you're keeping your good cards in your deck. So really plays nicely into a mechanic. Might even work with strides if either the Ghosty King Obadiah or the Nightrose stride mill, because it doesn't say your grade 3 Vanguard with Nightrose, it says your Vanguard's ability. So it could work with strides as well, but for that we have to wait and see. But not really much more to say about the Nightrose crest. It's a little bit of fun. But the Harry one, however, really has amped things up. So, same as all the others for these first 3 effects, just except changing everything to Harry. But if you notice our crest, we've got a little GB2 logo for our last skill. And what the last skill says is, Auto Generation Break 2. At the end of your turn, if 2 or more of your cards were put into your soul during the end phase of this turn, you may draw a card. This is why Cutie Paratrooper is cracked. Her activation allows you to, if you called it off Harry, put something else in, call something else out. Both Cutie Paratrooper and the card you've called will go into soul during your end phase, and then you will draw a card. This turns Harry into Counterblast 1, draw a card, which is very good. Adding on top of the fact you've got the triple drive, you've got, if you use him, Nocturcio's discard to draw when you stride to draw a card. Any other generic draw power we get in the deck. Really good for the deck. Because obviously we're losing shield power by our 2 front rows going back into soul again. So this is really good for the deck. And I can't wait to see what we do further. The reason we've had to have this GB2 put on it, however, is so we don't have Cutie Paratrooper in the early game before we get to Stride, putting 2 cards in soul and drawing cards early. So it does balance it out, because obviously we could use the grade 2 from the Blangmire set 4 stuff, which says Counterblast 1, call something from Soul, and the turn it goes back into Soul. You could use that to call Cutie Paratrooper. Cutie Paratrooper then puts that grade 2 back into Soul to call something else out. Both of them then affected by the going back into Soul during the end phase, and then that would activate the crest. So we do have alternative options to play around with, but I'm going to cook once we've had more reveals. Talking of more reveals, they have announced that next Tuesday is going to be 5 more cards being revealed, along one of those being the Jester Demonic Dragon Lunatech Dragon. So what I'm likely going to do, because I'm predicting that Thursday after that is going to be 5 cards for Nightrose, including Ghostly Great King Obadiah. So what I'll do is, again, wait till after the Thursday stream. We've got both of them again, and I can start comparing again. So I do like this little bit of comparing. We could likely bring back Cutie Paratrooper to compare if they give us Negrobone. Because obviously Negrobone is meant to be the counterpart to Cutie Paratrooper. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's going to be the end of this video. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It very much does help the channel. And I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.